Biggie Small.
I'm surrounded by criminals, heavy rollers, even the shiesty individuals. Smoking, skunking mad Phillies, beating down Billy badasses, cracks and stacks and masses. If robbery's the class, bet I pass it.
Welcome back, I'm Fox at FoxyGames_UK. Subscribe to the channel and follow via Twitter for your source of aggregate news, rumour and video game discussion with an emphasis on PlayStation, but spanning a variety of platforms. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead, let us know how you found us, and please remember, if you like the video, thumbs up at the end. Views expressed in our videos are those of third parties and do not necessarily represent the views of Foxy Games UK. All relevant links can be found in this video's description. Now, as reported by contributor Jeff Grubb, our first news item comes courtesy of VentureBeat.com. Nintendo Switch took January's coveted NPD, Sony's PlayStation 4 took most revenue, and Microsoft's Xbox One enjoyed its best January month of sales since the platform launched back in November 2013. I feel it's safe to say all aforementioned console sales are on fire. Here's the full story. Hardware sales doubled year over year in January according to industry tracking firm the NPD Group. Nintendo, Microsoft and Sony all benefited from that spending. Here's a quote. Hardware spending in January 2018 grew 119% when compared to a year ago to $278 million. NPD analyst Matt Piscatella said spending gains were driven by Switch, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 hardware sales growth. Well, this is another sign that the console gaming market is as healthy as ever. This comes after a strong 2017 where Nintendo Switch debuted to huge sales without stripping away a significant number of customers from Microsoft and Sony, and that everybody wins trend continues last month. PlayStation 4, Switch and Xbox One all performed well in the month of January, said Piscatella. In dollar sales, the gap between the top-selling platform and the third best-selling was only 3%. Nintendo Switch was the month's best-selling platform in unit sales, while PlayStation 4 topped dollar sales, and Xbox One dollar and unit sales in January 2018 are the highest achieved for the platform in any January month. Again, this is not just about sales parity. These systems are addressing diverse groups of consumers. That is growing console gaming in a pretty major way. Here's a quote. January hardware dollar sales of $278 million is the highest level achieved since the $323 million sold in January 2011. Over 1 million units of hardware sold in January 2018, also the highest tally since January 2011. Now, early 2011 was still in the height of the Xbox 360's and PlayStation 3's popularity. It was also a strong year for Nintendo's 3DS and Wii systems. It's a good sign that this generation of gaming devices can get into that same realm of performance. Similarly, VentureBeat.com contributor Stephen Chan also added deeper context to January's 2018 NPD result. Now, multi-platform hit Monster Hunter World continues its extremely positive sales run for Capcom, a company many had grave concerns over the past several years. Now, Monster Hunter has even slayed gaming beasts like Call of Duty and the phenomenally successful PUBG. 2018 is off to a good start for the gaming industry. Revenues in January were up 59% year on year and generated $1.96 billion according to industry tracking firm the NPD Group. Now, the big winner is Capcom's Monster Hunter World, which was the best-selling game for the month despite launching on January 26th. The series has also been popular in Japan and is one of the publisher's most successful franchises. Capcom wisely doubled down on Western audiences, with Monster Hunter World focusing on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 rather than Nintendo systems. It's also introduced a more open world feel. Capcom's efforts paid off and it sold over 5 million copies of the game in the first weekend alone. Here's a quote. Sales of Monster Hunter World represent an all-time launch month high for the Monster Hunter franchise in the US. Now, here are the numbers for January 2018. Total was 1.96 billion, that is up 59% from 690 million back in January 2017. Hardware sales 278 million, which is up 119% from 127 million, and PC and console software 570 million, that's up 51% from 343 million. Now, accessories of 301 million US dollars, up 37% from 220 million last year. The NPD now reports PC PC and console software sales together. The report does not cover total market spend, and it is missing certain data. It is more of a snapshot of the market as a whole, using data from participating publishers and platforms. Overall software sales for the surprisingly lucrative month of January 2018, well, you could say is within itself quite astonishing, as January is really historically known as the month of financial recovery for most households. Now, Capcom was the top publisher for the month thanks to Monster Hunter World hitting that target, but the Dragon Ball franchise also had a successful month. Dragon Ball FighterZ from developer Arc System Works and publisher Bandai Namco ranked as the #2 best-selling game, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 came in at number 16. Here's a quote. Launch month sales of Dragon Ball FighterZ were the highest for a Dragon Ball franchise release since Dragon Ball Z Budokai, which released in December 2002, said Piscatella. PUBG Corp's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is also creeping up to really the top-selling list, rising from number 7 in December to number 4. The popular Battle Royale game launched on Xbox One on December 12 and sold more than 3 million copies within its first month. It was also a very impressive, if not a booming month for hardware, up 119% year over year, generating massive amounts of money for the industry. NPD reports that consumers bought more than 1 million consoles, the highest number since January 2011. And as previously mentioned in the report, Nintendo Switch sold the most systems, but again Sony's PlayStation 4 generated the most revenue, and Microsoft's Xbox One rounds out the top 3 consoles for the month. So, considering Switch is in fact a 9th generation console, as pointed out last month by Xbox marketing head Aaron Greenberg when proclaiming victory over PS4 for December's 2017 NPD, does that now mean that PS4 in fact won January's 2018 NPD because it is in fact an 8th gen console? I'm just yanking some chains here, don't mind me, though here's what the NPD's Matt Piscatella had to say. PlayStation 4, Switch and Xbox One all performed well in the month of January. In dollar sales, the gap between the top selling platform and the third best selling was just a mere 3%. So, aside from the Switch, Nintendo also saw a resurgence of interest in the aging 3DS. The handheld console sold the most in January since the same time period in 2013, currently sitting at around 70 million install base lifetime to date, and there's plenty of life left in the old dog yet. Now, the accessories category had a record January, generating 301 million. Consumers were mainly interested in headsets, and the Turtle Beach was the best seller of that month. So to summarize this monumental January, the most successful January for video game, really in terms of the industry and the business in 7 years, more people bought Nintendo Switch consoles than Xbox One or PlayStation 4 systems in January in the US, but consumers spent more on Sony's system, and according to the intelligence firm, the NPD Group, don't worry about the Xbox One though, because it had its best January ever. What is also encouraging is the PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation VR are helping that platform continue to sell, and Xbox One X really is the most powerful console ever, and the Nintendo Switch is selling like wild to a group of hardcore gamers who want to untether from their televisions. That parity has broken up a winning streak for the PlayStation 4 since 2013 when it comes to hardware in the United States. The Xbox One won a handful of months between 2013 and 2016, but Sony's system was dominant until the introduction of the Switch. Now, since March 2017, however, Nintendo, Microsoft and Sony have all taken turns selling the most units, or the most in terms of dollars. For example, Switch was the top selling console in December, but Xbox One outsold the PS4. That was also flipped this month, with PS4 at number 1 and Switch taking the top spot in terms of consoles sold. This is great for developers who want to make console games, as it really shows they can find an enthusiastic audience no matter which host platform they choose to go with, and that's pretty much great news for everybody. Okay, so before we wrap this up, I haven't exactly been his biggest supporter over the years, let's be honest, simply because I don't always agree with the direction this particular company has taken this generation. That being said, I believe it's the proper thing to do, really, to commend others when they say or do something I can get on board with. Xbox boss Phil Spencer gave a really heartfelt and impassioned 45-minute speech at the 2018 DICE Summit event. Yesterday, Spencer spoke eloquently of inclusiveness, diversity, better representation in the industry for minorities regardless of gender or sexual orientation, and even went on to emphasize making video game development environments really welcoming to all regardless of culture and or faith, and that should always be applauded. So good on you, Phil Spencer. Though that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video, but let's continue the discussion in the video comments. And for more PS4, Nintendo Switch and Xbox One coverage, subscribe to Foxy Games UK. And if you found any of the information in this video at all useful, go ahead and hit that like button and help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing this video. And for just $1, £1, €1 or the equivalent, join the Foxy Games UK Patreon and help the channel grow. You'll find the link in this video's description. Thank you for all your kind support. And there we have it. Until next time, do remember, play games, not corporations. Thanks for watching, everybody.